Yeah, he's been my main ever since the start, and that's only increased because in every single game, one of the first things I do is take Donkey Kong and see how he plays. Or to be fair, I do have other mains, although it depends on the game. In Melee, my two other backup mains were Roy and Jigglypuff because I love spamming rest. Well, I say spam rest, you can't really do that with rest so much because it's a difficult move to pull off, but anyway. And then when it got to Brawl, I think it's Sonic and Toon Link. Those are my two backup mains.
Yeah, I do not remember who I mained in the very first Smash Brothers, but whenever I played Melee, I really got into Marth, which led me to getting into Fire Emblem, which led me to getting into Marth more. So,
yeah.
As of Melee, Marth is my main, although I sold all my Smash games to pay for things like Fallout.
Oh. Yeah, that's fair enough. I think admittedly, that was the same reason I sold Soul Calibur 2 back in the day, but... But yeah, that is one of the good things about Smash Brothers. It got Fire Emblem over here.
Yeah, that is the biggest accolade I am going to give it, and not that it's a bad series or anything, but that is the number one thing I praise it for, because I'm a fan of it.
Yeah, indeed. And heck, it was only because I love Roy so much that I bought Fire Emblem for the Game Boy Advance anyway, so... Kind of think of it, if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't have gone to Neo Seeker or met you, so... Huh, interesting.
We can thank Smash Brothers Melee for our knowing each other.
And this entire show. Wow, that's good.
Yeah, this entire show and probably your entire channel.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's something to think about. Anyway. It's like one giant chain of nerdiness. Anyway. I don't know what it is about Smash Bros. That kind of makes it work. I guess it's kind of one of those systems that's simple but unbelievably chaotic once you get into it.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
I mean, well, Sakurai said he wanted to create Smash Bros. As kind of like an antidote to a lot of other fighting games which are so complicated, it's kind of hard for new people to get into it, so...
Like Soul Calibur, in a way.
Yeah, well, you could say that about pretty much any fighting game, to be honest. Which actually kind of leads into the interesting thing, because Melee is a game that a lot of people praise, but it's actually one game that Sakurai is not 100% happy with. Like I said, he wanted to make Smash Bros. As like this entry-level fighting game which anyone can just pick up and play, and he feels that basically Melee kind of made it a bit hard to do that because of all the different elements he had to master.
Oh yeah, because of all the exploits, the wave dashing, and all that good
yeah. Okay, we should probably mention it, because I know some people are about to raise up their hands. I'm sorry, but we're not going to talk about the meta game. If you like to take part in the meta game and tournaments and everything, that is perfectly fine.
But we
Just
don't give a shit.
Yeah, we don't care about it, and please don't act like a douche. We have lost many friends and left many places because of that, so please don't.
Yeah, you will not believe how many people turned this into serious business.
So yeah, now that we've established that we're not going to cover the meta game, let's go back to happier things. Out of the three Smash Bros. Game, which would you say was the best one?
Brawl, probably, because I just like the look and the feel of the system the best.
Yeah, actually it's kind of odd. For me, it's kind of... I think Brawl has a lot of things going for it. Like, I like the roster, and like you, I like the overall look of it, and there were just so many features in Brawl I love, like the soundtrack, the stage design, but at the same time I think Melee gives the slightly better single-player experience, because I think one of the main problems I had with Brawl is that it was trying to do too much. You know, it kind of spread its content so thin over a lot of places, because Subspace Emissary, I love the idea, but it really didn't work, honestly, when you... And then there's all those stuff like the coin launcher. I bloody hated that mini-game. There's the coin launcher, there's the stage editor, there's the NES demos. I don't know who was asking for that.
Well, I did approve of the fact that they had the very, 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 very first Fire Emblem available, but that was about all I got from that.
Oh wait, did it have it on there? I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I think it had like 10 minutes of Fire Emblem 1.
I actually never noticed that. I managed to play the first 10 minutes of Kid Icarus, and I'll be honest, I really don't get what the fuss is all about that game. It was absolutely horrible.
Yeah, I distinctly recall there being Fire Emblem 1 in that, and let me tell you, it just proved our point. They changed nothing for Fire Emblem 11.
Oh, sigh. But yeah, I still think the NES demos, they were a bit too much. I think Brawl just packed so much content, it kind of spread itself thin. So while it has many plus points, I think Melee was the more solid game overall, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, well, for me, Melee was kind of ruined by the metagame, so that kind of takes it out of the...
Oh yeah, okay, that is fair enough. Yeah, that's the that's the one slight I hold against the metagame. Although some might say it's a bit silly to basically use a fan base as a fan base. Hold a fan base as a reason you don't like a game, but I'll be honest, some of the interactions we've had with people have kind of soured it towards it. So, like I said, I think Melee, objectively, it's a more solid game on its own, in my personal opinion, but subjectively, I've not played the game since then, because the metagame still comes back in my mind every once in a while.
Yeah, that was entirely the reason I sold my copy, and I think I sold it to pay for Tales of Symphonia back in 2006.
Huh, nice choice.
Yeah, I think I drastically traded up. And obligatorily, I've just pissed off an entire fan base, because we cannot go one show without me doing that.
Yeah, thanks for that. Oh dear, I'm now gonna have to resort to confusing titles to make sure no one knows what we're talking about. Anyway, I guess from that we might as well talk about rosters. I mean, what do you think of the character rosters so far? I mean, I know, especially during the build-up to Brawl, there was a lot of controversy with some of the choices made, whether people agreed with them, whether they rather died and see that character there with them.
Well, generally, I don't have any problem with the rosters, even though I question the existence of some of the characters like, you know, Pit, Game & Watch, Ice Climbers.
Well,
Olimar.
those guys...
I mean, Olimar? Really?
Well, the thing is, I can kind of understand now, because, you know, they're all part of Nintendo's history in some way, and at least they have their own game franchises. Those guys, I can understand. The ones I can't really understand are either characters who are just really unimportant, like Rob. I mean, he was an accessory for Nintendo that half the time didn't work. I don't know why they made the leap from that to a character. I don't know, it's just, he didn't really have his own game from what I heard. The other thing, okay, this is more in Melee's roster rather than Brawl's, but it's still occasionally happen when they just pick a character from a series that just seems to be for the existence of being a clone character, like Pichu. Who was asking for Pichu? The same goes for Dr. Mario as well, and it what even still baffles me is that, okay, I'm sure many of you know this. In Brawl, there are 7 characters that were meant to be in there but got cut out due for time, and there's some rough data for the models on the game still, so people know that they're there. You just can't play with them at all. One of these 7 characters was Dr. Mario. For some reason, they insisted on bringing him back, and I don't know why. No one was asking for him. Everyone just knows that Dr. Mario is just Mario. I just don't think there was that big of a draw to have him back.
Yeah, I kind of see that. It was mainly in Melee, I thought, because I didn't really see the point in Kid Link either.
I agree with you. Young Link is a bit strange. I mean, I can understand Toon Link, although I hate calling him that. He's Link, the hero of Wind. Show him some respect. I can understand why I have Toon Link, because, you know, it's a big representation since Zelda's now taken these 2 drastically different styles, and, you know, he has a lot of personality, and he kind of fights differently, you know, will be more combo-based, so it makes sense to have him there, but I never saw the point of Young Link, like you, apart from, like, one vague Ocarina of Time reference, and that's...
Yeah, I never saw the point in Toon Link, or Dr. Mario, or Pichu, or Mewtwo. So I was impressed whenever they took Mewtwo out, because A, he had no point, B, he was a bitch to unlock.
Yeah, that is true. That unlocking system for him was ridiculous. But yeah, I can kind of understand. My always objection seems to be that I can kind of understand Mewtwo since he's vaguely popular, kind of, question mark, and he had his own like original moveset, and which meant he was a unique fighter compared to everyone else. But I don't mind characters being in there if A, they kind of had an impact in their own series, or B, if they have a fighting style that separates them from the others, you know, some kind of gimmick, some kind of different focus in their fighting that makes them stand out. So, I didn't even see the point of what they did in Melee, of basically just adding a bunch of secret characters that were essentially the exact same character, the exact same style as another that was already existing, but with some slight changes to the speed and power. Like, for example, Ganondorf. He's been the antagonist for Legend of Zelda ever since it began. He has a wide variety of magic spells. Like, in Ocarina of Time, he had a long-range spell, and he had this punch which could basically shatter the ground underneath him. He could transform into a gigantic beast. He had a sword. And they give him Captain Falcon's moveset.
Yeah.
What?
Even if he hijacks and insults every other villain in the Legend of Zelda franchise, they could have done him at least some respect.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why. I mean, Sakurai on the Smash Bros. Website made this, like, desperate excuse of, oh, he feels the other guys are beneath him, so he uses his fists. Bullcrap! I mean, okay, to be fair, in Brawl, they did modify them slightly further so that they at least have different animations, but I still count them as clones because, save for the slight differences, they're more or less the exact same still.
Yeah.
One of the main characters, well, there are two characters I have objections to on Brawl's roster. The first is Rob, as I mentioned, and the second is Wolf O'Donnell. I mean, okay, I know he's kind of important to the Star Fox series since he's vaguely Fox's rival, but every single Star Fox character that's been included has the exact same bloody moveset, and they did exactly the same thing with Wolf O'Donnell.
Yeah, he was a slightly slower Fox and Falco clone.
I just don't get it. Is it really that hard coming up with movesets? I mean, you took bloody forever to make the game, so...
Oh, what was it? 6 years?
Yeah, something like that. You could have at least taken some time to actually, you know, develop a new moveset, or at least, if it was similar, have a bit more drastic effects, or at least come up with a different final smash. What the hell was up with just making another Landmaster for that?
Three of them, man.
Yeah.
They differentiated Mario and Luigi. You could have done the same with them.
I know. I mean, at least give him Wolf and the ship. That would have made more sense.